All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Ali Madawi back in the ME studios. We are the ME show, and I am your strategic partner. I am super excited, and I cannot hide it because I got another guest in the building. And this time, this gentleman not only is highly educated, not only he's been a DJ, so he's that cool kid that you want to be around, if you know what I'm saying. VIP section in the building. Boom, 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 boom. Not only that, he's extremely talented with his photography and filming and videography business that we're going to dive so deep into it. But he also managed and ran a podcast for a bank, and he was doing all types of sort of programming for even a TV channel, primetime in NYC, baby. So I am so excited because I'm trying to get schooled in here. And I know for a fact you're going to get a lot of infotainment out of this. Of course, information with a whole lot of entertainment. Now, of course, stick with us because you know your boy always hooks you up. Today, we're going to be giving a 4-night, 5-day vacation, all-inclusive Mexico lodging, food, and drinks. That's right. The only thing I can cover for you is your taxes. Of course, it's illegal for me to incentivize you. It's like when you win a car or you win lottery, they say you got to cover your own taxes. Same exact thing. The other thing is, whenever you're ready to travel, up to a year from now, just take care of your flight. We'll make sure that we take care of everything else for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a whole lot of beautiful love, virtual love. And ladies, chill out. He is taken to the one and only Carlos, a.k.a. DJ Los. Boom, 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 boom. I had to do that. What's up, my guy?
Oh, my goodness. What is up? What a proper introduction that was. I was not expecting that.
Well, you so promised dinner, so you know we had to get into it. First and foremost, there's a lot of people who hear these introductions, but they don't know there's a story behind the story. You've worked extremely hard. You are, like myself, a son of immigrants. You had to figure out your way into living in a what was once upon a time a stranger of a country, culture, giving up everything that we are to become Americans, essentially Americanized into this culture. Yet we still hold tight to who we are and what makes us who we are. But I am intrigued and curious to hear about your background, about how it all began and how you kind of identified the love of videography or the love of business, if you will. So give us a little bit of that feedback on all things Los.
Well, I mean, first off, thank you for having me.
Of course.
I really appreciate you taking the time.
Of course.
On a Sunday, nonetheless, to come do this with
We
me.
are big fans, by the way. I'm going to tag his DJ playlist, of course, on the captions as well, on the description. Extremely, extremely talented. My wife blasts, like we have the speakers on the ceiling. Yeah. It's nonstop, Los all day, every day. But go on, please.
So a little bit about me. Like you said, I am the son of 2 immigrants from El Salvador, and that in itself just speaks volumes to my inspiration in entrepreneurship because I witnessed, my family struggle for so many years in the beginning of our life here in this country. I'm talking 12, 14, 16-hour days every single day without a break. I would hardly see my dad when he was, on the road working. He was a truck driver. And fast forward 22 years, and he now has his own logistics business that, thank God, is doing absolutely
way to go, Pop.
Amazing. And that is my biggest inspiration in life, is my pops. He actually has no clue that I'm even doing this or even talking about him. So when he sees this, I'm sure he'll probably get emotional, but he is the one true North Star in my life that no matter what happens, I know that I can always go to him and he's going to guide me in the right way. Same with my mother. She is the backbone to the business, to the family business, and his backbone in life. And without both of them in my life, I don't know where I would be, or if that love of entrepreneurship and owning your own business would have even flourished to what it is today.
Wow. I'm not crying. You're crying. Goosebumps. I know Rich in the background over there is like in tears saying like, I want a story like that. No, that's phenomenal. And I appreciate it. Do you think that grid, if you will, that you saw Pops put it into the work and building or having that investor mindset, right? I'm going to put a little bit of work, a lot more than I should have in the past, so on and so forth. Do you think that cultivated your mindset, cultivated your habit, cultivated your discipline and your drive? Or do you think like you kind of had to find your own lane into where you are right now?
I think it definitely cultivated almost everything about me, my personality, the way that I think about things and the way that I problem solve. Because when you witness your parents grind and struggle in every aspect of life, you know, financially, in their marriage, right? Because of financials, just like real world hard shit, right? Like, and you watch them come out the other side of that so much stronger and happier because of their perseverance.
Thanks.
That is what cultivated everything that I do. It's what drives me to this day, every single day, because there are some days, and I'm sure you know, it's very hard to get up in the morning, you know, because of whatever you have going on in life. But the one thing that is a constant is thinking about my parents' struggle and their perseverance. And I know that if they can do it, I know that I can do it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. So you went to high school and then college. You actually played sports as well. Tell me a little bit about that high school and collegiate experience.
So high school and collegiate experience, I played soccer my entire life. And it was actually the only reason I got into school, because I was not the most books.
You weren't the best academically speaking,
exactly.
But from an athletic standpoint, you made up what you were missing in the books.
Precisely. Okay. Precisely. So even though I didn't hit the books so really hard, I was athletically gifted enough to get into college. And because of that, I spent 2 years in college, and that is where I found the love for photography and videography, because through athletics, I was recording myself and documenting my progress in the gym, in sports, and everything.
The six packs. I looked you up, bro. I've seen them. I've seen them. See. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, what you call that is I am humbly showing you off. You know, it's like you know, I wasn't really good with the books, but my athletical skills were out of this world. If you should see the way I'm just messing with you. Okay, so how serious were you about the athletic side of you, that obviously you had to put some basic effort into the books? But how good was, I mean, were you considering to really pursue the professional side as far as the athletics?
Yeah. So especially, you know, soccer in this country is extremely political, and you can compare and contrast academies and the youth system in the United States versus Europe and South America. There were conversations that I was having with my parents. I was like, what if we took, you know, the dive of maybe having me go down to South America and trial at a few clubs and then try to go that professional route?
Why didn't you?
In the end, because I was so deeply already culturally ingrained in this country, you know, we're talking, I'm about to be 18, 19 years old at this point.
So it's going to be tough for you.
It's going to be tough at that point. Yeah.
At this point, you're an American kid going to South America. So looking back, do you wish you did go, or?
I wouldn't change a thing, because at the end of the day, where I am today, right now, everything that was in my past has made up everything and who I am today. So even, you know, that
no
was
regrets.
No regrets. Yeah. It was a decision that you had to make like early on. But I'm glad that I did, because now I can say that happily 10 years later, I am, you know, a successful business owner in the photo and video space. And I've had the honor and privilege of working with some of the best people, best companies in the world.
modernsyncmedia.com, by the way, if you want to check out his work, and amazing footage. I mean, every time you post anything on your social media accounts, it's like, you know, I want to go, I want to travel, I want to experience it. No, really, you know, look, there's one thing to say that I'm a photographer. It's another thing to show it. There's one thing to say I'm a videographer and an editor and a producer, and another thing to actually do it. So kudos to you for actually documenting your process and your progress. So as far as family, you know, do you guys have that foundational El Salvador culture while keeping up with American culture, kind of like what we do in my family? You know, I'm Moroccan, my wife is Colombian, and you know, we celebrate everything. So there's a lot of holidays, right? There's everything to be celebrated, and then there's the American holidays. Did you guys celebrate Thanksgiving?
Of course.
Okay, so it is an American Salvadorian family process.
100%. That's awesome. But we do everything we can to keep every Salvadorian tradition alive. For example, every single New Year's, the entire family, immediate family, gets together, no matter where we are, what we're doing, and we help my mom make these insane. I'm gonna bring you some, by the way, this New Year's. Insane sandwiches.
I mean, why didn't you bring them today?
because the tradition is once a year and only on New Year's. It's
Fine.
that special.
Fine.
No matter how much you want it throughout the year, no matter if you're craving it once a
you
year
got
on
less
New
than
Year's.
30 days to do
Yes.
this. I mean, look, family, I love y'all, but he has to come down and bring, or I'll come up, and I'll meet you up there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is the one tradition that immediately comes to mind that we keep alive every single year, no matter what. And, thankfully we've all been able-bodied and healthy to, been doing this ever since I was born. Every New Year's we get together to make the best sandwiches in the world. And I promise you, they're the best sandwiches.
See what I mean?
There is no debate.
He humbly brags, like he does the, so far it's all, we're family values. We keep it, but we have the best sandwiches in the world. Like shut up, everybody. Isn't there like a beef with Colombia or Venezuela or some country about, was it pupusas or arepas?
Yes. So El Salvador and Honduras have beef because they.
When you say beef, like about food, they're claiming specific.
They're claiming. So obviously I'm biased, but it's 100% a Salvadorian food. But Hondurans will claim that it's from Honduras, or the origins are from Honduras. Just kind of like with Colombia and Venezuela with arepas.
So wait, I missed something. So Honduras, what is the beef about? Which meal?
Pupusas.
Okay, pupusas. So
yes.
Pupusas, Honduras are saying we created it. We claim it.
Yeah, but Salvadorians know. Like
there's the BUT, there's the humble butt. Okay, and then with Colombians, it's arepa.
Arepas. With Venezuelans, I mean, I don't know too much about that beef, but from what I know,
you mean like
sides,
Colombia and Venezuela?
Both sides claim arepas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I look forward to be the judge because I will not be biased. So we got the best sandwich in the world. I'm making a menu here, and then we got pupusas. All right. Yeah. I look forward to trying these. Well, look, with your permission, I want to take a quick break. We got to pay some bills, and then when we do come back, I want to dive into the talent, the skill, and then the practicality of how you operate within your world of photography and videography. So stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, let me know if you did visit modernsyncmedia.com, because look, there's some goodies in there. So whether you got a wedding, whether you got a birthday, whether you got a special bar mitzvah, whether you got a destination, whether you got an event, a seminar, my boy got you. You tell him Ali sent me, so you got to work with me. And we're going to talk about that in just a hot second. Make sure you also follow him on Instagram. Some beautiful imagery. It's going to make you want to take vacations all the time. Alrighty, let's dive into Modern Sync Media. Tell me the foundation of the business, when it started, who is in business with you, and what is it that you focus on or what you're passionate about as far as working with clientele?
So Modern Sync Media actually started through love of fitness. And my business partner, who still is my business partner now, Maddie Fusaro, who is an online coach in the fitness space.
Shout out to Maddie Fusaro. Let's go.
He will get you right. Whatever you need in terms of, your nutrition, your training. He is the only coach I could ever recommend. He got me ready for a whole bodybuilding show. I soloed my first one before we actually knew each other. And then I didn't even place top 10 in my first show when I just did it by myself. Then Maddie was my coach for my second one, and I got second place, only losing to a professional. So
just make sure I'm under this bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like Speedos and
and the tan and everything.
I can't unsee that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And ladies, chill out. Again, he's taking. I'm taking a moment because I've seen the six packs before, but I don't think you've posted. You don't have it anywhere right now on your gram.
No.
Yeah.
It's a little off brand now.
When I say I went down top to bottom and I did my homework,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little off brand now to be posting shirtless pictures.
I get it. I get it.
But that is where the love for photo and video started, because I was recording my progress. I was documenting my entire journey of getting ready for a bodybuilding show. And then that's where I discovered the love for the camera. I realized that I'm actually having much more fun being behind the camera instead of being the subject in front of the camera.
I totally connect with that. Now, you did spend some time working on primetime TV.
I did.
Tell me a little bit about that experience.
So that experience, I was about my third year in college, and I'll back it up even a little bit before. So third year in college, I had an opportunity to actually live out in LA for an esports organization. So I was documenting a professional Counter-Strike team in LA for a few months, and I was 17 at the time.
And you handled the camera or sound? What part?
Everything.
Wow.
I was DP. I was the editor. I was the social media guy. I was everything in that organization.
They were slaving you, bro.
Yeah. but think about it like this: you're 17 years old and you have a one-way ticket to LA.
I get it. You just want to get it all
and live the glitz and glamour, right, of that lifestyle. And it was a very foundational and I discovered a lot about myself through that experience. It really showed me how to adapt in any type of environment, right? I was living with like 7 dudes in a house in LA and basically kind of filming reality TV stuff for social media. And that was what was absolutely popping back then in the YouTube space for esports. So I was doing that for a few months. And with that experience, I came back to New York with a hefty portfolio to show. Yeah. And then through that portfolio, I actually started working in primetime television for and
it was interesting how you got picked up, because you really weren't supposed to be in that role, but somebody looked at your resume and was like, hey, if you're willing to, I'm willing to take a shot on you.
Yeah,
right?
So I actually do want to shout out Bernardino Rosario. He was my boss at Telemundo at the time for a show called Adictivo. So I'll never forget this, because he said something along the lines of like, when I went to his office, I knew an intern there and she got me in the door. And he said, and he saw my work, he saw everything. He goes, I don't care that, you didn't fully finish your college degree or anything.
You're not decorated with the titles of college.
He's like, I don't care, but I see how hungry you are, and your work shows, how talented you are. So I would really love to bring you on. And
you spent what, a year, 2 years?
About a year.
About a year.
Yeah. Doing that in working in TV. And again, that was the foot in the door with working with the United States Navy, like Spanish celebrities, like really big things that kind of made your eyes like go wide. And for the red carpet events,
I was gonna say, for those who don't appreciate the intricacies and the amount of details that you need with such high value celebrities and whatnot. Like, look, third tier, fourth tier podcasting is like, all right, if I mess up, I can edit it, and like I got Adobe and everything can be cleaned up, right? But when you have $100,000 state of the art production for a 5-minute interview, you better get it right? Like, so and that, to my point, it adds a lot more value in what you're doing today with your clientele that you have. I would assume that you still maintain that very same standard and same eye to details that you've done.
Of course. And, in that point, I still, you never stop learning. But in that point in my career, I was developing that eye for detail, because when things go out on TV, it's kind of like exposing yourself, right? Your work is being exposed for literally thousands and hundreds of thousands of people to see. So that really, really helped me develop my eye for detail, that I think a lot of people in the event space talk about, that creative eye, the eye for detail, which is important, but they don't have that background that I do in television that just trained that eye for detail a little bit differently.
So I do have to ask for the uneducated, because there are a lot of us out there. A lot of people, hate to say it, influencers,
right,
disrupt what you do with cell phones and applications and filters. But there is a huge difference in a final project and a product,
right,
when it comes to using the right equipment versus just an iPhone.
Right.
Talk to me about, or educate me about the risk to rewards for somebody who's like, wow, I don't got to spend money. I can do it by myself with a cell phone. Because look, I've had that selfish thought myself in the past as well, until I got to experience a professional, producer and production. And then when the final product, I was like, whoa,
right,
like this is what I want it to look like every single time. Yeah. So please help me educate for those who don't understand. Like, you may think you got it figured out with a cell phone, but what makes it more different with the right person behind the camera and the right equipment as well?
Well, I think I just want to touch on the good side of cell phones. I love that there is such a low barrier to entry,
Sure.
right, in the space. And I think even though everyone can be considered a photographer with a cell phone or a videographer or a filmmaker with your cell phone, if that is the best camera you have. And I love that thought, because I was also once that kid that I was, working at a restaurant. I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch, just saving every single dollar I had to try to get this equipment.
That one camera.
That one thing that I thought was going to make me a better filmmaker. Yeah. And I made that mistake of, okay, now I have this piece of equipment, but what's the story I'm trying to tell, right? So you can have minimal equipment or the best equipment, but if you don't have a story to tell, you're not really doing anything. But to your point, I will say that once you start dabbling into some real heavy duty industry standard, very advanced high-tech cameras and audio lighting, it makes the job a lot more complicated, complex. You have to solve more problems, but that final result is what makes everything worth it, because you're not going to achieve that look of this for the story that you're trying to tell with a cell phone, most likely.
What's the biggest hiccup you've ever had at a project, and how did you fix it real quick? If there's that one story of like, oh my God, this one time we effed up so bad, but we turned it around. Do you have one of those? Or you're perfect as well?
I am definitely not perfect, because the reason why it's kind of hard to bring one situation up is because there has been so many.
Okay.
Because every single event, no matter how much you timeline, no matter how much you speak with your client, the event planners, everyone involved, right? It's a team effort that we're there for the client. Something is always going to go wrong 100% of the time. I have not, out of the hundreds and hundreds adapter, of weddings,
one plug, one wire. Yeah.
It may not even be on our end, but within the environment of an event, something is going to go astray from that timeline that, is like your Bible on an event day. But one event that I can think of just off the top of my head, we were down in Miami doing an event for a client, and there were multiple locations where we had to set up audio. And in the midst of, running on zero sleep, on your feet for 12 hours, haven't eaten in like 8 hours, I completely forgot my audio recorder in one of the locations. And then I go back about 2 hours later, and the entire room,
it's already cleared. Yeah, I've been through that.
And
before.
My heart sank. Yeah. Because now we have about another 8 hours to that we have to film and record and get audio for. I had to hit up the people that I didn't know, three people down the line in the bureaucracy of this event to get this one guy's number, and I'm calling him, and he's already home from the event, and I had to pay him $100 to come back and bring my recorder because he accidentally packed it in his stuff. And I'm talking right as the next phase of the event was about to start, I plugged it in. Like, it was like slow motion.
I know
like
the
MC was about to start the event, and then I go record.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We had a recording session that we traveled for, and we had all equipment, everything's connected the right way, but we were connected to the wrong mic.
Oh my God.
So what we recorded was from a mic that was far away.
Yeah.
Just echoed far away. And we figured it out, and we delivered. Everything is good, but I know the feeling where your heart sinks.
If only the client knew what we had to go through to get shot, to get the proper audio for their.
You know what I appreciate is we could have called and be like, hey man, we got to re-record this side, or like, hey, we messed up, or we get.
But you don't get that in events.
Nope.
If you miss it, you're absolutely
done.
royally screwed.
You're done. Yeah.
And then that's your reputation right there. And in the event space, especially, you're dealing with people's most important memories and most important day of their lives, yet before, if they have kids or anything like that. Apart from that, your reputation is everything in that space. So if you miss something for one client, one wedding,
you're ruined a milestone of a lifetime.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. So let's dive into the work itself. what kind of events or type of filming or photo shoots, or do you specialize in and or do or prefer to do, or you do the most? Let's get into that. The work itself.
We primarily specialize in weddings, bar mitzvahs, sweet 16s, usually in the luxury high-end space. So when I say like sweet 16s, I tell people, think of like my super sweet 16 from MTV back in the day, right? Those huge, massive parties. People don't realize how big, some bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs are. Bigger than most people's weddings, and they have no clue. It's a very niche market. And then weddings, obviously, we know, can be royally huge and, very
some weddings
expensive.
Can go to 6 figures plus.
Way plus 6 figures, 7
and we're
figures.
talking average.
And we're talking 7 figures too. It is primarily the market that we cater to, but that does not mean that we don't cater to smaller events as well. We have teams ready to shoot any type of event, and we always try to accommodate most types of budgets.
Well, and that's important. The last 4 to 8 years have kicked a lot of people's butts financially speaking. You have inflation and whatnot, so it's important to understand that. Is there any type of photography or shoot that you wouldn't do? There's boudoir or anything outside or it's like, hey, it depends on the situation, the budget, and the client?
It definitely just depends on the situation, client, and budget. There aren't many things that we wouldn't say no to, but obviously that's kind of, I don't want to put that out there. And we get some crazy requests.
So you still evaluate the client, not necessarily just the project itself. Always. If it's the right client with the alignment in the core values, you would consider. Yes,
every client gets a bespoke experience. Every client is priced out differently because every client has different needs. Every client needs different amount of coverage, has different expectations and visions for their content, whether it's photo or their video. So we price based on that. Some people want the world and then some, and others are just like, listen, I just kind of want you to show up and just capture the day and do your thing and make it a little more lax. And
I'm curious on, one of the things that we get obviously different businesses, entrepreneurs, different people want to come in the hot seat, but I tell people all the time, like, look, you can't ask me for, Don, Perrier for lack of better words for a budget of Bud Light, if you want a high-end champagne, you got to get high-end champagne budget, right?
Exactly.
Do you find it sometimes that you have individuals that they have this humongous vision, but they don't have the budget? And how do you kind of manage the expectation of like, look, I get what you want. I really, really do. And I want to give you the best of your vision. But unfortunately, you can't have all of these things. And here's like, how do you manage that?
So I try to curve expectations because thankfully at this point, we've built up a portfolio of, like bottom of the totem pole type of coverage that we can offer versus like the very, very best that we can humanly cover. Right. So, if they want a giant array of services for, a lower tier budget, I show them like, look, I understand, like you said, I understand what you want, and we're going to try to accommodate this vision, but with this budget in mind, this is what we can do. And then I show them that example. So I can show them an example of a 1-shooter event versus a 3-4 shooter event. I can show them an example at, the exact venue that they're going to get married at. I can show them an example of us doing a destination wedding or a shoot, anything like that. So thankfully, because of the portfolio that we've built, I can show them the different types of experiences and the expectation that they can get.
What is the best client or venue or event that you've shot?
So,
and I know there's one under NDA. You can't really talk about the who part, but
there's one particular event that comes to mind that we got flown down to Florida to do, and it was for a politician's family members.
You can't talk about it. Can I talk about it? No, it's an NDA. You can't talk about it.
I definitely can't. We can't say names, but it was probably the most arguably one of the most famous politicians in the world.
Yeah.
And he had a family member who was having a wedding, and it was like the biggest wedding bash of the year.
Would you consider it, for
publications
your
picked it up.
own experience, like the best wedding you've ever seen kind of put together, or you've seen more lavish? Because I mean, you are in the high end space, so.
Right. I think I've seen more lavish compared to this one, but I would say the amount of hoops that you have to go through security wise and security clearance wise. And
did you have to get clearance and background checks and whatnot?
Wow. Of course.
Yeah.
Whenever you deal with government officials and politicians, the level of security clearance is pretty high.
I bet.
And I'm talking, so just like the level of,
and this is 2 years
security.
ago, right?
This was around 2-3 years ago.
COVID was still kind of lingering around.
Yeah, but to this particular person, that didn't matter.
Yeah.
So
keep it at that, because you're starting to give hints.
Right. So just so you can get a level of feel for security and how that affects your job as a photographer and a videographer. Like, you have to get close to these people, right? Because how am I going to get my shot if I'm 30 yards that way, right? No matter how long of a telephoto lens you have, the feel of a shot, right? You have to move around and you have to be around these people. So if you can think of it like this, where there was this was the welcome party to this event, and then the guest of honor comes in, and there is someone literally 3 rooms lengths away that way, looking the other way, didn't even know that this person entered the room, but just casually had his hand in his pocket, just looking the other way, talking to somebody. Security comes up from behind this man, physically pulls his hand out of his pocket and says, "Do not put your hands in your pocket," while you're in the same room as this person. Right. So imagine that. And then me with all this camera gear,
fancy equipment,
equipment. And I'm moving quick. I'm moving fast. Like, I'm always keeping my head on a swivel, and I can see that all this security detail is like looking straight at me.
How long of a shoot was that?
This was a 2-day event.
Wow.
2-day event.
That's a lot of
2 days straight
scrutiny and craziness to get it right too, right?
Yeah. And then with multiple 24-hour edits turned around.
Who does the edits? You do the edits, or is it Matt?
This particular event?
Matt, right?
Yes.
His name? Okay.
Yeah. So for most of our clients, Matt actually does a lot of the editing. He handles, shout out to him, because he is far more patient than I am. He is an entrepreneur as well, full through and through. And for this particular event, though, I was down there with the team, and I had to kind of bite the bullet, and the client requested a 24-hour edit of this welcome party the night before the actual event was happening. So we got home at like 11 p.m. from this event. We have to be up at 6 to then start filming the actual event. And from 11 to 3 in the morning, I was sitting there editing the 24-hour edit, and then did the whole event the next day, and then did it all over again.
And you just proved my point. This is the part that most people don't understand. That's how much it goes into creating that magical 1 to an hour and a half video that you're seeing. Like, oh my God, this was the best wedding ever.
Yeah.
No sleep,
No sleep.
No, it's phenomenal. I get it, and I respect it. Well, look, I'm excited because we do a lot of events, and I look forward to possibly doing some work with you, doing some work with Matt as well, whether here in the country or abroad as well. So, if you're okay with it, we'd definitely want to send some people your way,
of course,
as well. But hey, you stick around with us. We're going to take a little bit of a break. And remember, we're giving away 4-night, 5-day vacation to Mexico, all inclusive. All you got to do is subscribe. You got to make sure that you turn on those notifications, and you got to follow Los on Instagram. I'm going to make sure that it is on the description. If he tells me, hey, there's some new followers, I'm going to hook you up with that 4-night, 5 days, because this is what we do. We support one another. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Did you visit the website? I know I did. Spiffy, isn't it? Did you hit that subscribe button? Did you hit that follow on those Instagram accounts? See, if you did all those three, I'm going to hook you up. 4 night, 5 days, Mexico, all inclusive lodging, food, and beverage. Of course, taxes and flights are on you, but it's about $3,000 of a giveaway that I'm giving you right now. And oh, by the way, because it's the holiday season, if you want to take another party with you, you want to do like a 2 couples kind of a thing, your boy got you. Just let us know, or he's going to let me know once he gets that follow. All right, so let's dive into the future of modern sync media. What are you anticipating as far as growth? Who or what do you want to grow the company into, or are you satisfied with how it is right now and kind of like just run it for a little while until you figure it out? What's your mindset as far as the future of the company?
I think the future of modern sync, it looks a little bit more in the high-end event space that we're already in, but just becoming a household name in it. Right now, we are not the, top 5, 10, 15, 20 in the world. And we want to be in that name, in that list for the world. Right now, a lot of people know us locally, right, from New York. We're a studio in New York. And even though we get to fly around the country and some parts of the world, there are other studios and other photographers out there that are world renowned. And that is where I'm trying to get this company and myself to be on that level of talent, of creativeness, of thinking outside the box, of actually being a little different, even though, weddings and events can be pretty mundane. You can do, you do one wedding, you've done them all, and there's little intricacies and differences between them. We really want to do some work that stands out from the rest.
So you need to get down this way, and I'll tell you why. So about 5 minutes from where we're located, Netflix Studios is opening up. I don't know if you know that.
I think you might have mentioned it.
Yeah, Netflix Studios is, they got the contract. They got an 8-year contract with New Jersey. That's where we are. For those of you who don't know, we are located in Eatontown, New Jersey. And from way south to way north, it's buildings and construction everywhere. And the reason that is everybody's anticipating, once you're going to have like Hollywood celebrities coming this way and studios, you're going to have extra actors, you're going to have voiceover actors, you're going to have people who are going to do their headshots. This is why we're excited about this, baby. This is an investment for 2 years from now when Netflix Studios open up. So something to think about. Essentially, there will be a Hollywood on the Northeast because Tyler Perry opened the studios in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And Perry Studios. He opened he bought what used to be slave farms, about 40 acres of slave farms, and flattened the whole thing and built all kind of studios. So yeah, he did it right, man. He's the next incredible multi-billionaire. Yeah. Obviously LA, Hollywood is where it's at. And we're excited about what Netflix is going to be doing on this side as well. So in terms of the ideal client for you, you don't put a cap on who do you want to work with. And at the same time, it just comes down to core values. What would you say those core values are? How do you identify this is the right client for us or not? Is it based on budget? Is it based on project? Is it based on who they are and how they interact with you? Because I'll be honest with you, man, so far this year, we've been extremely blessed. Our clients have been amazing. But in the past, you get such a pain in the ass of a client. You're like, I regret doing business with you because forget making money. You're making my life horrible.
Right.
Is that such a thing that you look for specific core values within your clientele?
I think one of the freedoms and the best parts of entrepreneurship is that you can say yes or no to anyone as your client. But the gift and the curse of that is that every client is now a new boss, right? In a sense. So the biggest make or break thing is like, are you a good person? Like you can get a vibe and you can get a feeling for someone. But at the end of the day, budget, who they are, how you connect with them on that level when, you have that initial discovery call with someone, all these things play a role into, who you want to take on. But it's rare that we would turn someone away because, in this space, thankfully, there are so many great people. There's so many amazing people. I've met some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And, I did an event just before I came here. And this is one of the most sweetest, down-to-earth families I've ever had the pleasure an honor of working with. And if it wasn't for me being in this business, in this industry, I would never have met this family and met these people.
Is part of the discovery called "Are pupusas from Honduras or El Salvador"? Is that something that we evaluate? No, I'm just messing with you. For you personally, selfishly speaking, I mean, I understand. We are our business. It's if you're a true entrepreneur, you were like it's there's no clock in, clock out. It's
Right.
like I wake up and it's on, right? Do you see yourself doing anything else or growing into anything else? Or, I know you did podcasting. I know you did photography. I know you did before being in front of the camera, and now you did behind the camera. Like, what is next for Lowe's, selfishly speaking, as an individual?
Selfishly speaking, as an individual, I would definitely like to free up a little bit more of my time to chase the music as a creative endeavor. And again, selfishly speaking, if, you find yourself kind of battling, okay, I know that there's a ton of work to get done. Like you said, the work clocked in, but then, you think about feeding the creative part of your soul, which sometimes as your job, right? Because photo video at one point in my life was just a creative endeavor. I loved to discover new ways, methods, techniques to make something, to make a story look amazing. And now it's about, when that is 100% your source of income and it's your business, it's your job, it's your lifeline, you view it a little differently as just kind of a creative endeavor and feeding that creative part of your soul. Now music has become that part of my soul that just makes me feel good whenever I, lay down a track or I'm DJing and you're in the flow. It's such a feel good feeling that I miss from, not having the pressures of having photo and video be your full source of and your only source of income.
What's your take from a musician or an artist standpoint on AI created music? I mean, Rich and I were jamming to his music every single week, and he'll just drop a couple of prompts and then, AI platform will make a whole album for us to listen to.
Right.
What is your take on that? Because look, I think I've done music, and I've recorded a lot. I got many mixtapes out there that I've done. That's my BC life, all right. But I would say it pisses me off. Like, damn, you took the whole concept of molding and creating,
right,
and you just press a button and a prompt, and you're like, I got a full album.
Yeah,
like what? Yeah, give me your perspective from an artistic standpoint about AI and music.
I think people can see through that because it's so not authentic. So people can see right through, and they may not be able to hear it from a technical standpoint of like a level of production that's AI produced or human produced. But I think that, what's the point in that? Because we make music for it to be heard, and we make music to express ourselves.
I think to be felt, right?
To be felt, exactly. So it's not really. I feel like it's kind of losing all feeling in that sense because, like I just said
human
before,
element.
Exactly. I just said before, this feeds the creative part of my soul. That does nothing for me, in terms of doing that.
Do you think there are artists out there, and this is again conversations that Rich and I have offline? Do you think there's like actual primetime artists who use AI and get a whole track laid down for them, and they just tweak it a little bit and say, "This is my new original song"? Because I
think it's 100% going in that direction.
That's
for example,
sick.
One of the biggest sample libraries, especially for house, techno, even hip hop, rap, every type of genre, Splice. I just discovered this the other day, has an AI like groove generator, right? So you just pick a BPM, you pick your key,
and then it just develops the foundation of a song.
Exactly. And then you just hit refresh on the elements that you want to replace. It does it automatically. So you have literally the foundation of a whole track in seconds. So your kicks, your drums, your vocals, your effects, everything in seconds. But again, it just doesn't feel authentic at all. I can see how it may entice beginners, but I think speaking from a more professional standpoint, I don't see it, being like someone can just make that in seconds and then they publish it out to the world and claim it as theirs. And they claim that it is a a level of production that could be considered professional in that way, you know?
That's scary. And at the same exact time, like, you know, if you, here's how I think this is the best example. It's like going to Italy and saying Starbucks is the best coffee ever and I can make it in seconds.
Yeah.
And that pisses off every Italian. Is like, what are you doing? You know, or going to Honduras and saying pupusas are the greatest. I had to. Okay, you are big on football, our football or soccer. You appreciate the game and you play FIFA as well.
I actually have not played since 2023.
Good. So I can catch you on a game very quickly soon and kick your ass.
I could still beat you though.
All right, I will stream it on Twitch and I will tag every single individual.
I am so down.
So just for the record, this will be a challenge, you know. Because look, I used to play Die Hard. I got rid of this. I used to play it on Xbox in 2014. Yeah, 2014. I got rid of it because I used to play 6 hours at a time. Like, and I mean, straight up, especially at the time, the league just started, you know, when you can play, I forgot what it's even called anymore. Every week you can play an actual live league.
Okay.
And you rank. Right. So the more you play and you win, the more points you get and the more you rank in. And I used to be on the top 10. This is, again, back in 2013, 2014. Bro, I was diehard. I mean, it was a religion to me. You would offend me if you say you could be better than me back then, right?
You're right.
With our beautiful little son, Sebastian, and, you know, he's 7 and almost a half now. And, you know, we got a PlayStation like 2 years ago, and FIFA came back into my life. So I still got it. And I'm like that retired, but once upon a time was the GOAT, who is a little bit slower, but he can still have a good time and show off. That's me right now. So
a little washed, but you can still teach Sebastian a thing or two.
You know, this is that humble show off. I didn't say I'm washed up. I said the former GOAT, he's just a little slower. GOAT.
AKA washed.
GOAT, greatest of all time, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, so look, for anybody who may have an event coming up soon, whether soon is 3 months from now or soon meaning 2026. What is your message for that individual with what you do? What is your call to action, if you will, and your invitation to that person? And look in camera 7 over there and let them know.
I would say if you're looking for a bespoke experience with a studio that is willing to work with all different types of people, budgets, events, no matter what it is, we were always going to try to find some sort of solution for you and accommodate you in any way, shape, or form that we possibly can. And we're just very excited and looking forward to work with you.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are super excited. This is the first, but certainly not the last time we're going to have Carlos in the building, a.k.a. Los. We are going to hook you up as well for that very same vacation. And if you need more than one suite, you just let us know if you want to go with a crew. We absolutely are going to take care of you because you're the GOAT right now for us. And,
Thank you.
No, genuinely.
I really appreciate that.
We appreciate your music. With your permission, we're going to put the music in the album itself. Yeah, because I need your permission in order to put it in there, but we'll promote that as well. Make sure you visit his website. Make sure, definitely 100%, you hit the Instagram account that we're going to be putting on the description. And we're going to put all the different links that he's going to allow us to and connect with Carlos, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are newlyweds, ready to have that incredible event, bar mitzvah, whatever you got. My boy got you right in here. My name is Ali Midawi. Huge shout out to Rich Toombs behind the controls, our chief production officer. Huge shout out to Maritza. I love you, baby girl. She's the president of the ME Studios. She's taking care of all the bills for us. And I'm your host, your strategic partner, Ali Midawi. Until next time, peace out, everybody.